Welcome to the Active Trader Setups Tutoring Reference Series, where we'll be reviewing charts and exactly tutoring you on how to set those charts up from scratch, what the indicators are on each chart template that's shown over on our Trader Members site under Products. So you go to tradermembers.com, click on the Products tab, and we have the page set up for our members, as well as it's open to the public if you want to learn more about our charts. We have each chart outlined, each template. We have a different section for the futures charts, and we're taking each chart one at a time and showing all the indicators that are on the chart, telling a little bit about what they tell you, showing you where the scanners are located to scan for the inflection points that are shown on these charts, as well as at the very end of each of these reference tutoring videos, we will have a step-by-step instruction of how to create this chart from scratch with a new chart, starting with the data series and then loading the template. That'll be in about the last 5 minutes of each of these videos. That'll be shown right above the chart template on the page, and this will be the name of the video on the YouTube site that's shown right below the chart template on the page. So it's products page at tradermembers.com. That's open to the public as well. So you want to remember this if you're having to reconstruct a chart, or you want to place a chart into a workspace you already have open. You don't have that chart there and you need to build it because you want to start using it in your workspace that you've already got created. You'll go over, find this video, just fast forward over the last 5 minutes, and it'll show you how to create each chart from scratch. And be sure to watch on our YouTube channel. We got the Active Trader Setups Trading Setup Series that's coming out 3 and 4 times a week, where we're reviewing actual charts from the day, that's using the chart and the indicator setups that are on that chart to use practical application of the indicators on the charts, how you're going to read them and how you're going to react and trade to them. That's an ongoing series for our clients to learn from, as well as our guests to learn more about our trading package. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be watching for that series multiple times a week. This is a little part just to let you know, most of our videos have a little pre-segment that shows about the same thing about a template over and over on each of these tutorial videos. When you jump on these videos, just give you a heads up, you can skip over to the 8-minute mark, and that's where the actual part about the template will begin at. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're here, and go over to daytradersetups.com. You can find out more about our package under our features area, our registration area, as well as our education and training. We have a YouTube channel page that has links to various videos as well. And then you can go over to our members site. It's called tradermembers.com. Go to the products page, and we have a full listing of reference materials for our traders to access, but this page is open to the public. It goes over each of the charts and what they have on them, the indicators, the indications, how to scan for those, and so forth. Little segment we like to include in all videos is a step to recover when you got a chart that looks like this. That this chart has lost all of the indicators. They're not here for whatever reason, and you'll run across that occasionally. Sometimes you can look at your chart, go to indicators, and you will see that you have the indicators, but they're not loaded here. Multiple times a day, you can press F5 will reload a script. In this case, we don't have a script to reload, and you can reload your scripts on the chart. Sometimes maybe you're not showing your chart trader over to the side. If you have a template open with the chart trader on it, you press F5, it'll reload and you'll come back in. Also, sometimes you'll have a chart that's just not plotting right. The indicators are on the chart and you're not seeing what you want to see, and you know it's not correct. You can take your template here, right click, duplicate in a new tab, and many times that will populate immediately and everything will be correct. And then you just simply move your new tab over to where it should have been, take the one that wasn't working, close it out, and you're back in business. In this case, we do not have the indicators on the chart. So the process, what we try to do is, you can't remember what was on your chart except for the fact that we put a label down here to let you know, hopefully a hint to what was on this chart. So everything here is part of the data series, and then the volume alert is the name. You can right click on these names, go to rename, which we're not going to do, and you can see the data series and then the word volume alerts typed in. So the data all is bringing out everything in that label other than the words volume alert. So volume alert is your hint to the name of the template. So we're going to right click, load templates, and they're located in these various folders. We did that for a reason, so that when you have your own templates already in your Ninja Trader platform, that all of our templates didn't come in and overload your area for your personal templates. But you can find these templates in these different folders. We also have a backup, has them all. That's where I'm going to go so I can find this as fast as I can. Here's volume alert. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click load, and it's going to reload all the indicators that was on that chart. And then I can go right over here. This one was named volume and ATS Inflection D. Do the same thing. Gonna load ATS backups, volume, and ATS Inflection D. And it's going to reload and recalculate. Now this one has an issue which we've already fixed on the website. Upload. And that's what that chart should look like. So just remember, that's how you reload your templates. This video is covering the chart template 3 data algo inflection. You'll find that chart on the Trader Members Products page, and scroll down the page until you find the chart 3 algo inflection. This is where this video will be linked right on top of this image of the chart, and you'll see the logo that we just showed you for this video. And all the items that create this template, there are 3 data series on it. They're shown up in the upper left hand corner of the chart. It's the STSAlgo 25. It's the ATS Ichimoku as well as the daily. They all have to be loaded on the chart prior to loading the template. And these are the settings: 25 factor on the STSAlgo, 25 brick size on the ATS Algo, and then a daily indicator. The lower area here tells you each of the indicators that are on the chart. The trend shift pivot zone, that's the green and red line on the chart. The power Momo chart, that's our bands, red and yellow and blue on the chart. As well as at the bottom you have the power Momo alert, which is the actual visual to show you what we like to look for on this is the double cross from yellow to blue. That's the upper band, that's the lower band. You can see right here on the chart, they both at the same time changed from yellow to blue, as well as the trend shift pivot line changed from green to red simultaneously. And when you can get that set up, generally you're going to get an acceleration to the downside. Sometimes you can get that trigger, you'll get a slight bounce back into the red and green trend shift pivot zone line, and then you'll get the sell-off. We teach about expectations of the pattern when this happens, and that's some of the older indicators that we developed a couple of years ago in our projection charting videos. Then we have the ATS Inflection Point Indicator. It has the daily input that puts the white lines and the orange lines on the chart, and they go back 10 days, and we have a video on ATS Inflection Indicator already out. That's one of our most popular day trading indicator. And the Force 1 is used a lot. That's right here. Now, most of the charts it's shown with green dotted lines and red dotted lines. This one is shown just solid red, solid green. It's laid in with the volume alert as well indicator at the bottom. We have videos on each indicator explaining how they work and the colors. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to just show you what's on the chart, not explaining so much about what the indicator itself tells you. That's a separate series of videos. This is just to help you understand how to rebuild this chart and what is actually included on it. One thing I want you to notice here on the web page is also, by looking at this picture, you can see what I put in for a name at the bottom. Now this one I didn't put the entire 3 Algo Inflection across the bottom, but if you run across one of those charts that don't have anything on it, and that'll give you and you're trying to figure out what it was, that'll give you a hint as to how I labeled it on the bottom there, just like you see here on the actual chart. Now I've got a chart up that has multiple. Here's your day breaks, so this is more of a swing trading kind of a chart, but a good opportunity to show you the first indicator. That's the trend shift pivot zone, how it's arcing up. It actually right here it went green to red. The candles got back above it, and then it came back down and went back green to red again. And then after that you had your double blue ones at the bottom on this next. This is plotting off the algo plot, which is the little yellow dots on the yellow line. So when it plotted this dot, that's when it gave you the double cross at the bottom, as well as turned the green to red all at the same time. And then you had the upper band push away, which gives you the harder it pushes, the bigger the arc, the more likely of a bigger push down. And when you can get these dots down below this line, if you can maintain them, you can get in a huge run. Now this is more of a, like I said, this is a swing trade kind of chart because you see multiple daybreak lines on this particular symbol, and you will get the end of the day when you're trading stocks that are any stock, you're going to get a little variation in price toward the end of each day. There's always a little bounce somehow. I also want to show you how the lines, these change color. You watch the AT Inflection video, it shows you how these lines work, and as you scroll forward you can see these lines shift. The white lines will be shifting to different places because they're based on different days. This is the daily inflection point chart. So each day it moves, and you'll see it bounce off of the day before when it's the big line. If it's a solid white line, it's 3 days before. And I'm just going to slide this on across. You can watch the price action coming back up to the red line there, trying to get through. Another day goes by, hasn't shifted the trend shift. It's about to. Your projection charting will be telling you exactly what price this will be at the time it switches if you're on a projection charting chart, and that's shown over in this side. A lot of people don't use that, but it will tell you for swing trading you need to find it. Now right here, it would have showed you that when this dot got to this level, it was going to change the color from red to green, and you had another double cross here at the bottom. Now that don't mean this can't retrace here. Happens quite often. A lot of times you'll get it right before it crosses over. You'll be red and you'll be approaching the crossover point, and it will go back and do a retracement. That's a really good setup when you get that pullback. And we have an alert scanner that can scan for this. It's in the group. We have 3 different scan tabs or market analyzer boxes, and the reason we do that, some of them are more oriented to day trading, and your inflection points, doesn't matter if it's day trading or not. Here's some indicators for the inflection points, but the one I was going to show you here is called Advanced Zone Plan Ahead. It looks at this green and red bar, and it goes, and it does it on if you're running a smaller ATR chart and you're running a 10 tick instead of a 25 tick, you can run these scans on the 10, you can run them on the 25, or you can run them on a 50 bar. So the bigger stocks, bigger ATR stocks, you're looking for swing trades, you can run these on the 50 bar. They're all built in here. And the alerts, you can right click and see the alerts. You don't need to try to modify them because you don't understand how all the indicators work, but they're in here and you can turn them on and off. I do not have the default set to on the 10. They're all named Advanced Setup Long Watch on red, it says. See the name right here. F10, that's a factor 10, Advanced Setup Long Watch on red for low ATR stocks. Then you got the 25 and the 50. What it's looking for is the price above a red line that hasn't turned green yet, and vice versa for the short watches. And these are pre-checked on the 25 and the 50. They're not checked for the 10. You can turn off the 50 if you're trading low ATR stocks and use the 10 and the 25. You just enable the alert, apply it, your change, and it'll come out in the box and it'll show you where it came from in the alert boxes. That's how you scan for that setup on this chart and on any chart. It don't have to be on this chart. If you've got the red and green line and you're interested in that scan, that's what this will find it for you. Advanced Zone Plan Ahead. The alert box here in the source will show you the name of this tab, and then in the message it will have the name of the actual alert where we were just looking at those names. And you can run these intraday, you can run them intraday. So they're a great swing trading tool. Then we have a small ATR advanced retracement setup that has the 25 only. This is advanced retracement. And then you can actually find these that are pulling back. That's what the retracement is. It's when it's gone down and it's going back up here. It's looking for that. We'll be covering more details on how each of these work. I'm going to get that box back up there. Hold on. When you're mousing over trying to find these boxes, if you don't have them in your visibility and you go down on your NinjaTrader and you get a pop-up, whatever the tab is that's open is how you're going to find that, is how to be labeled. But it's labeled as a market analyzer. There's a lot of scans you can run related to this. This is another end of day. It can from open green zone crossover. So it looks at the open, which is yesterday's close, that it was red, and then when it crosses to green intraday, it will say yes in these columns that it crossed today. That's another great swing trading tool, but you can also use this intraday. It's all the way down to a 5 algo setting, 5, 10, 25, and 50s all in here. And we set this up for you guys trading these low price stocks. You can go in here and scan this, and you'll get you're looking for this trend shift, the green to red, red to green. So this will tell you yesterday it was red and today it's green. It'll say yes in the columns, and you can set this up. It's set for the 5, 10, 25, and 50. Do not ever rename these columns, because when you do, you destroy the alerts that are built. The alerts are set in here. Green gone crossover, yes today. That's how it'll show up if you activate it and enable it. That's all you want to modify in these. This one's preset to 25 and 50s. And it'll show up and say that exact name, 50 green zone crossover, yes today. That means yesterday it was red and today it's green. Same thing for the short. Yesterday was green, today it's red. And then those can be run intraday, okay? This is an end of day green zone crossover. It's a little bit more complicated how to set up those scanners and what has to be included to do the end of day run. And then here's the end day going the other direction. For it actually is a bigger one. This one's 5, 10, 25, and 50s. This one's 10, 25, 50, and 100s for those bigger ATR stocks. You have the same thing for the red zone crossovers. End of day advanced plan ahead for small ATR. Same kind of setup we were talking about earlier. Looking for that stock that's, if it's advanced plan ahead, then the candles have gotten below. If it's for a short, you got a green bar, you got a green line, and your candles are below it. So it's expecting a retracement and then to go red, or continue down and to go red, and vice versa. So that's what these are for. You can run these end of day for your advanced plan ahead. This is the bigger ATRs. So this market analyzer that starts with the advanced plan ahead on the far left tab, this is all about swing trading or looking for the crossovers intraday on the stuff to set up some pre-alerts. This is a hugely used tool. It's great for swing trading. It can be used for intraday trading on these first two right here. There is another workspace, and you guys do understand you can have multiple workspaces open. All these with the little gray areas, these are all open workspaces, and you can set alerts in one workspace, be in another workspace trading, and get those alerts showing up in your alert log from that as well. There's another workspace called End of Day Scan Tabs, Quick Load, no F100. That means they load faster because there's no columns in here with the 100 factors that take a lot more time to load when you're running end-of-day scans. These will scan what we call the bull and bear zone, and that's when you get this double crossover on your bands that are shown up on the chart, the red, the yellow, and blue bands. When you got the double crossover indicated, and you can scan these on a 30-minute, 60-minute setup, which could be setting up for a multi-day breakout, especially on a low ATR stock. You can run them on a daily. These are designed to be run after hours, and you could actually use your connection, go to the kinetic free end of day if you're running the daily. Now, if you're running the 60-minute, you'd have to run on a normal connection. These are not wick driven. They're normal candles, so you can handle more symbols. at one time. It doesn't bog you down as bad. Now, when you get into the force alerts, they can also be run end of day, looking for this force alert to go green or is in that state. This is a great way to find some stocks that are especially for a lower ATR, and they got this green. It may stay green for 2 days. Now on NVIDIA, that was probably 4 minutes, but on a different stock, that could be a multiple day run here. So these are good to run for that as well. And then this is the end of day crossover, which you saw on the other layouts. End of day, advanced, plan ahead. Same thing we looked at. There's included in here as well. But that bull zone and bear zone are really good. This one's set. If it says free, it's set to run off the free end of day connection. So you can run. You may have a kinetic connection for 100 symbols. So it's not going to get you over 100 symbols at a time. But if you can run it on the free end of day, you could put more than 100 symbols in by connecting to that free end of day if it's designed to be run on the free end of day, and I'll tell you that in the name. But anyway, there's some more over here in this indicator to find that bull and bear zone, not on the wick charts, not on the algo bars, but actually on the standard candles. You can find these breakouts setting up on those bands. And that workspace again is the end of day scan tab, quick load. That's one of our older scanners that really good for swing trading setups. I'm going to go back to where we were on this templates. This is our chart we were working on. The other part that's on here, now you saw those force alert indicators, and you've got in your scanners here, in your standard setups, I believe I got some force alerts as well. Right here, you got a 25 and a 50 force alert. You can run scanners on that. Where they're crossing into that, you go again into your alert columns. It's got a force bull. It's got now with volume, and it's on the 25 and the 50s. And you can turn on the ones you want to turn on by using a checkbox and hitting apply. And that's good to find for multi-swings, or if you're trying to find some strong stock, you can go find that force on the 50 that might not be on the 25. So this stock is really strong going up intraday. I want to go find this stock and watch it, see if I can find an opportunity on that. So that's this force alert at the bottom is scanning that. It's looking for those green or red setups. Just scanning through, see if anything else applies to this particular chart. Of course, you got your inflections. This is the daily inflection lines, the yellow, orange, and white lines that are on the chart. This is scanning for reversals off of those. It's got an inflection with volume on the alerts, and it's got one just without the volume being a requirement. They start down here, and the way these are set up is short term. That's the little 10 smaller bar trading off the line. You can alert that if you want to get in quicker. It also has one called, and that's pre-checked. And then they're called MT for medium tick. That's the 25er. And then we have a HT high tick. That's the 50 bars. So it won't come up on the scanner until the reversal bar, if it's sold into the inflection point, won't come up on the scanner until the bar is closed and got the blue diamond underneath it actually for the reversal. But you can say what size wick bar you want to get that alert on. If you're swing trading, you say, hey, I want to wait on the 50 alert. I'm not interested until I got a big turn. I use the medium, which is the 25, and then we got the little small ones if you like to grab them at the lines real tight, or if you're trading small ATR stocks. And these will all be with volume. Now at the top we have an alert, and they're labeled white dash line, white solid line. That's 3 bars, 3 days back. That's 2 days back. That's yesterday. And then this part at the very top is just actually not reversing, but actually coming in and touching. It's got the bar straddle. The high is greater than the plot, and the low is less than the plot. So it's came back, and it's got a little filter in here. It could be actually a cent or two above it. It subtracts a few ticks. But it comes in if you want to start looking ahead of time for the ones that are straddle. And it will go in and look at the plots for the white dash, the double dash. You can set these up. I want to look at the, and these are actually labeled first most recent, second most recent, third most recent for you to help you understand what's what. And then these are all the orange lines is 4 through 10. If you want to actually scan for when they're at the lines, no reversal yet, but it's got a high above the line, low below the line on the prices if it's straddle of that bar, of the line I mean. So you can do that. These are not pre-enabled. The ones that are pre-enabled are the actual reversal bars, because I don't really want to know till it's turning. But if you want to plan something, you can do it in that manner. And that's right here in the ATS Inflection with volume, and it also works the same way without the volume. You got the exact same setups without volume being a requirement. You got the same alerts at the top, and then these are the reversal bars on the ST small tick. That's the 10 tick bars on our wick bars. Then it goes down again, shows you the medium tick and the high tick, and those are 10, 25, and 50 tick bars on the charts will find you those trades. That is the strongest thing I use day trading on bigger ATR stocks. You can also use it on smaller ATR stocks. Remember, when you are loading symbols into these areas, one, your symbol list can't be bigger than your symbol package. If you've got a kinetic 100 symbol package and you load 105 symbols, you're not going to get the right results. Your charts are not even going to load right. You've got to be below your symbol limit. You also don't want to load up more stuff than you can look at. And the bigger list of symbols you put in really will bog your system down. So you really want to keep this at around 80, even if you have a bigger symbol list. Because if you got 80 symbols in here and then you're typing in some symbols also manually on your charts through the day, those count. That's per connection. So every time you connect to Kinetic or whatever your data supplier is, that's how it counts those symbols. So if you've got 80 symbols in the list here and you're randomly looking at other symbols, you're going to cross your 100 limit, and it's going to quit giving you good data. Sometimes you have to reconnect and disconnect and reconnect. When you reconnect, all this stuff has to recalculate. So when you load this stuff in and it's taking a long time, it seems like your system's locked up. It's not locked up. It's trying to load and calculate these thousands of calculations that have to be made. And when it finally gets through, you can start loading more symbols and moving around on your charts. You need to get these loaded up. Pre-market is the best thing to do. And just main thing you got to remember to do is not save your workspaces with these symbols in there. They need to be unloaded at the end of the day, because the next morning when you connect, it will take forever to load your system back up while it does all these calculations. You need to get open, then load your symbol list in your favorite. Now, what I do a lot of times is, don't hurt you to rename these. Just don't rename any columns. Don't mess with the alert settings. You can take these, right click, say rename, and change it to FAV for favorite, and apply. and that'll help you remember which tabs you're loading symbols in the end of the day. You don't want to be running these on any more than 3. So find your 3 favorites and go in, and you can rename them the ones you're using every day. That way you can go back through your list here and find your faves and unload them. I'm going to rename that back. Be careful. Just want to take out the FAV part. Put it back like it was. So those are the scanners that find these lines on the charts. And it finds you either reversing off of them, or if you do the one I showed you for the last price, it actually is sitting straddle of that line. And you don't want to do every line. You'll get too many alerts, but you might want to do the most recent lines, which are your white lines. Go back 3 days if you're doing the daily. So we've covered the indicators that are on the chart. I didn't cover the data series. I'm fixing to do that with you, and that's going to be on how to create the blank chart. Will be show you what data series are in here and starting from scratch to get the data loaded up to create this chart. But we've covered what these tell you, what these tell you. We've talked about the dots on the chart. I'm going to show you the indicators as the last thing. Anything you don't want to see, you can go to indicators, and all this is on there partially for you to learn by. I can see through the dots. They don't bother me. I don't look at them as clutter on my chart. They're the algorithms that are creating all these other things. But if you don't want to see the dots, the 2 indicators, one plots the dotted line, the other one plots the actual dots. The dotted lines on bar close, the dots are actually will be floating around out there intra-bar. If you don't want to see these, just go to the indicator, click visible or unclick visible, apply to your chart, and now the dots are gone. That don't mean that the calculations are not still going on that need to be done to create these other indicators. You just don't have to see the dots. And if you got like a chart that you like and you don't want to see the cloud, you can do the same thing. You unclick the visible part and you can remove that from the chart. This is one we have on here called the last zone alert. It actually is invisible. You can use this for a couple of things. One, it has logo messages, which I'll turn on and show you how that works. And we're going to got to make it visible. And it puts these logos. Now, if you wanted to use that to label your chart for your personal use, you can. You can edit this and say whatever you want to say on that chart. That's one of the reasons we made it a message that could be changed. You can turn it off. You can have one of the lines. You can turn the second line off, apply, it goes away. You can use one of those lines. Now, what this also does, this is a great learning tool to turn this on. And I'm going to say trigger time and date switch. I'm going to turn that on. Now, what this is teaching you on this chart, and like I say, this is by default off. It's plotting. I need to get this moved back over some. It will plot on the chart the exact price that the red turned to green. And it will only do it for the last time. So when this green turned to red, maybe right here, it would have plotted, it was actually right here, it would have plotted the exact price that took place, that the trend shift went green to red. And if you turn on that time switch that you saw me do the checkbox on, it will put the price, the trigger, which is called long trigger if it went red to green, and it's called short trigger if it went green to red. It will give you the price, the date, and the time to the second when that occurred. And it will stay on the chart until it does a trend shift in another direction. So when this took place here, It plotted the line and put the price. That part you can't turn off if this is visible. This part right here, you can turn this on and off. But it will stay on the chart, this line, until the next time it changes directions. And then it'll plot a new plot. And it'll show you the time and so forth if you have that selected. So again, I want to show you how to turn that on and off. If you don't want to see, that's called the last zone. Right here, last zone alert. You can turn off the trigger time and date switch. Still leaves this plot always on the chart. And it also took the time part off. If we don't want to see the logo part up here or your message, you turn that off. And now you're just left with the line itself and the price. You don't have to have that at all. That's your option. I'll leave it turned off. A lot of people don't like clutter. Another thing I'm going to show you on a different indicator, I'm going to turn this back off. On your trend shift pivot zone. This is visible. That's the green and red line. Has font size up here. That's what puts this logo on your chart. NinjaTrader, as a rule, don't show you the symbol in the middle of the chart. I like to see my symbol, so I had this custom built. We just put it on this indicator. And that's why you see some charts that don't have the symbol in them. They don't have this indicator, and that's how that ends up on your chart. But you can make that bigger or smaller. And it's on here twice. That indicator's on here twice. One is a dotted line extension, so you have to change them both to that size if you want the bigger size. And that's on any chart you see that red and green line on. That's how you control that logo, the instrument symbol name. One other indicator that's on here that you do not see, projection trend shift. It's actually on this particular chart. You can turn it off, but it's on by default, and I'm going to leave it on. And what it shows you, and I'll try to find the chart to show you on. This chart's going to be a good example of a couple of things. First of all, what we're looking for is a trend shift. And in our older projection charting video, we talk about make sure there's a trend before you shift. As in, this is an uptrend, and we get the shift from green to red. We get the two blue ones at the bottom on the shift of the bands widening, and you can get the sell-off. This is a prime example of teaching about an expected pattern. Sometimes you come down here and it's green, and it bounces and it goes back up, and it'll just put that yellow dot, almost nail that green line. Then it'll reject and sell off hard. That's my favorite pattern using the red and green trend shift pivot zone line, is to get the breakdown when it's still green, go back and visit, and then reverse. In this case, it did the little flag pattern and broke down, but then right after it broke down, it only went 25 cents lower, and it turned and headed back up. And when it turned back up, it went back up near the red line and then rejected. Here it went a little beyond the red line and then rejected. Most of the time, it'll actually reject right here. And it'll give you a couple of plays, and it'll change, and it'll go the other way, just like here. This is called our retracement setup. There's a scanner for that as well. And this is where this little box comes into play. I hadn't explained the box yet. The box is actually giving you the plot of the dots. This is the price of the actual tick-by-tick price, current price right now on the stock. This box represents where the dots are at the time. What says current is where they close the last bar. So if you're looking at this right here and you look and see what current is, at that point in time, we call this RZR alert, how we name this. It's the next down bar, down dot. It's what it will take to make a new dot down from whatever's in the current box. If it continues up, the GZR is the next dot up. So if you're running up through here and you say, I believe this is going to fail, I'm going to short it, and you can do one of two things. You can wait on the next dot down. It'll give you the price. Or we recommend using our bar that gives you the reversal bar, and we know what that's going to be. It's going to be just below 2 green bars back if it reverses. And you can use a bar chart trader to get that amount by placing a sim trade or a live trade. When it does reverse, it will take you long, or short in this case. But what the dot can tell you, let's say you want to just take it right now, right here. It starts making a reversal bar on a smaller candle like a 10 rather than this 25. If you're betting that this is not going to make another dot up, then the level shown right here, GZR, that's the next dot up. That's your stop. You don't have to figure out anything. You can just look, that's the number. So if you're right here, this is pulling down, it starts to, you want to, right here on this candle, take this, it's telling you exactly what the next dot down will be from the dot prior. Right there in that box, whatever it is, if you're betting it's not going to go down anymore before it goes up, then that's your stop. That's what that box is designed for. Now, back to our trend shift and the projection. What happens is this gets right here. At all times, this software indicator is looking at this green bar or line. It's looking at the dot of the last current price, and then it says, okay, if I go up 2 bars from here, 2 dots, what happens? So that's back to the GZR and beyond. Or if I go down 2 more dots, what happens? It's always looking, and it's looking to tell you, will it turn it red if it's green, or will it turn it green if it's red? So if I'm below the line and it's predicting what it's going to take to turn it, that's what the value will be, and it shows up right here in the corner of the chart. If it's not valid, it won't show it. If it can't happen in 2 more dots, there'll be no box here at all. So as it works its way along, it'll give a 2x trend shift indicator. Short watch give you the exact value of what that dot will be when it flips this green to red. If it's going down, if it's a vice versa, be the other direction. As it gets closer, it will update itself. The number won't change at that time. It'll just give you the number as 1x away. It's 1 dot from turning green to red. Now in this case, we're now already down below. We got to get over to the current part of the chart. The reason I wanted to show you, you have to have a trend before you can have a trend shift, and vice versa, is right here, you don't really have a trend. You had a trend going up, it did reverse, it didn't continue down, and now it's just flat and sideways. This is not a trend. So visibly you don't have a trend. It's still going to tell you the value to turn the color of this line red or green or green or red. But I don't put as much validity in trying to take the setup if I don't have a trend. But this is how the bar works. Right here we have a green bar. It has the last dot, which was current, 155.05 was right here. This dot is still floating. It hadn't closed yet. The next dot up will be 155.50, 155.55 if it makes another dot up. If it makes another dot down, the value will be 154.80. And this is telling you if it prints 154.80, this green line's turning red again. It's projecting out. when it was right here, it was projecting as well, and it could have been a different number. They can change. It can go down green, give you a number to turn it red. It can bounce and then give you a different number to turn it red if it hasn't turned it red yet. Maybe here it's saying one more dot down, we're going red, and then it reverses 4 dots, and then it tells you one more dot down, we're going red. So it can end up being 50 cents or more higher on this particular algo setting that it turns green to red. But that's how this works. It's always looking forward. If it has 2 values on the chart, the one will be the bright one, and it overrides. Even if both of them happen to be bright, which I have seen that occasionally, it's a glitch, sometimes shows up. If a 1's on the chart, 1's going to turn it a different color. If the 2's on the chart, the 1 won't even be there. It'll just say 2x and give you the value. The 1x part will not even show up in the box. And when there's no box at all, then it's not close enough within 2 dots either direction to make a change. And that's how that works. That's every indicator on this chart. I'm going to show you at the tail end here how to rebuild this chart from scratch. Remember, every video in the tutorial and reference series is plotted right above the chart picture. I may give you some more information here about the video, other things you may find in the video, like where we discuss the scanners in this video. And also, that way, if you're wanting to learn about the scanners on the ATS Inflection, you'll know they're mentioned in the video. The other thing I want to show you is how to create a template. Remember, every one of these template videos, at the very end of the video, last 5 or 6 minutes, we're going to give you this part about creating from scratch. First thing you got to note from the picture is the data series that are shown. We know this is 3 data series. It states it right here, data series, STS 25 factor, ATS Algo set to 25 brick, and a daily. We got 3 data series, and they're listed here. STS Algo 25, we got the ATS Wick, and the daily. So we got 3. Usually you'll have 2. I don't have very many with 3. So that's how you're going to create it. You need to know that information right from the picture. And then you also can look at the tail end of the video and find this out. But you may not even need a video once you understand what I'm teaching you here. You're going to look at the chart. This chart, for instance, has nothing but a 5-minute on it. This next chart down here has an ATS wick brick on it and a daily, and the wick brick is set to 10 and the daily. It'll tell you that information. That's really all you need to know other than the name of the template to create a chart. It's nothing to it. So once you have your data information, you're going to go to New from the control panel, Chart. You're going to open up that chart box. For the data series, you're going to select, and you got to make sure you select the same symbol both times or all 3 times or whatever. We're going to just do AGN so that we're doing something different than we're looking at the PXD chart. So I got AGN and I got a wick. I don't need a wick. I need a STS Algo. This is the most important thing you need to know about the Algo. STS Algo requires this chart style setting to work properly. It doesn't put a candle on the chart. That's what you got. It defaults to that. You got to make sure it's on that. It's in the pull down window, the very bottom where you have all the different candle styles in NinjaTrader. We have this right at the bottom. You add that on there. Next, we want to come in, and I'm going to show you something first right here. We're going to go back and add another data series. We're going to add 2 more on here. I just want to hit OK and let this chart open up. And all we did was the STS Algo with our settings. Now it's loading this chart. Now you have a completely black chart. That's what you're supposed to have with only the STS Algo on it. Now if you tried to go in and load our template now, which I'm going to try to do so you'll understand what happens when you're not ready. We're going to go in for the 3 data Algo Inflection. We're going to try to load it. And it says the template you're loading has 3 data series and you only have 1. Before you can reconfigure your chart to 3 data, you need to do that before you can load. please reconfigure your chart. That means you need 3 data series. So I wanted to show you that part. Now we're going to go back to our data series and we're going to continue adding. Now, first thing you want to know is you got this one loaded. Go all the way to the bottom. You got to get enough bars loaded. I generally load 600 bars. You have to set this right here to regular trading hours, last thing on the bottom, and we do not break at end of day. Then go to the very bottom and make sure you have do not plot executions. If you want to, you can, but you're going to end up with a lot of clutter on your chart as you're trading. You can apply, but we're going to add some more. 600 bars on the Algo. We're going to add another one. We're going to AGN again. This time we're going to select the Wick Algo. It says on the web page 25 brick size. It's also going to match your factor size that we had on the previous entry. The factor input was 25. It defaults to 25. You have to change it for other charts. You set this to match it, and it tells you that right on the web page, right below the chart. Says your data series, STSAlgo set to 25, ATS set to 25 brick. We want 600 bars. We still want regular trading hours. You've got to put this in there. On ES, it's instrument settings, and on the SPY, it's 24-hour, 24 by 7 down in the selection area. But this is regular trading hours, what we have to have on our stocks. No break end of day. We've got a standard candlestick, that's fine, and we do not want to plot at the bottom. So now we've got, and we don't want this on a new panel. We want it on panel number 1, the same as this. We want them all on the same panel. It'll try to do a new panel. Third one we're going to add. Normally you'll just be adding 2, and that'll be the things you have to remember. The settings, 600 bars, regular trading hours, the chart style for the Algo, it'll default to the regular style for this, and go down and set this setting. Now we're going to add the last. Most of the time you're going to be adding a wick or an Algo, and then you're going to add, if you're doing an inflection chart, you're going to be adding either a 60-minute or a daily. We're doing a daily on this. That's what the settings were. We got AGN. We're going to go back over here, change it to daily. We want a 1 day. We're going to set that to days. Should default to 365. You can leave break in today on the minutes ones, and then go to the bottom, regular trading hours. Now, we don't want this daily bar plotted on our chart because it's going to interfere with our other bars. So we're going to go in and use my STSAlgo so that we won't end up with any candles messing the chart up on the daily bar. We just need the data feed. We don't need the candlesticks. We do want this to be on panel number 1 with the rest. And then we want to go to the bottom and change the marker again. So now we have our 3 datas. They're all set on the bottom like this. And when you do the 120-minute, if you're building one for a session ATS inflection, you're going to do it the same way. Use this bar on the 120. Regular trading hours always. In the 120, you can set that to about 5 days or something like that, because we're trying to go back 10 plots. So that's a multiple of about 3 days at the most. And we're going to hit apply. So now we've created our data series. We've loaded our chart. We don't have the daily bar on the chart. We're not seeing it. It's there. And we don't have the Algo plot. We just have our wick bar. Now we can load our template. Templates, load. Our template again was the 3 data Algo inflection. We click load. It allows us to load it. The background is the darker black. Brings our candles in. Then it starts calculating. It says calculating at the top. It's still calculating all our lines. And there's our chart. It's complete just like we had before as we were looking at our investigations. and you have all your indicators. Everything's loaded, and that's how you build a chart from scratch. Thanks for watching our video. I know this is long. It teaches you a lot in the video. Hopefully the other chart template videos, a lot of this stuff we're already covering. On this first video, on the first chart style, you're learning about how you add all these things. It should be a much quicker process. We won't have to talk about as many scanners because we already discussed the scanners, as we'll repeat the indicators going forward, and then we'll have scanner videos as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Hope you're learning a lot. Any questions, send an email to support@daytradersetups.com. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Tutoring Reference Series, where we're dissecting the components of each chart and all the indicators that are shown on the charts and how to read them and what they're intended to inform you about. Be sure to watch the complete series on any other chart templates you need information on, as well as be sure to tune in to our trading and training series, where we'll be looking at real-time setups on the charts as they progress through the day, and you start to learn to recognize how you're applying all these indicators to your trading. We're taking the charts and the indicators and learning how they apply to real-time trading and reading the charts. That's the trading and training series. We're putting that out 2 to 3 times a week during the week, and then also on the weekends we're going to have a weekend chart talk video that goes into many more charts that showed up throughout the week, and mainly concentrating on the cloud setups and the ATS Inflection charts. Thanks again for watching our video. Learn more about our trading package at activetradersetups.com.